Hey, everybody. Good morning. It's Kim Boudreau Smith, Kate Gardner, Christine Marmoy. Welcome to the Three Women Talk Show. We are broadcasting live from the Bold radio station. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, Kim. Good morning.
How's everybody doing? By the way, for everybody that is listening, we did not use our intro this morning because who needs an intro when you have the three of us on a show, right? It's us. It's just us.
Yeah, I'm plus we've all had technology issues all morning. Well, I have anyway. Everything I seem to touch does not work today.
Yes, that's been going. I wonder if it's Mercury in retrograde. Yeah, Mercury in retrograde. I think it's because that's all that's been going on for the last 48 hours. Is things are moving slower, technology and little burps in technology and things like that. So I might be Mercury in retrograde. Who knows?
No, it's not. I checked. I asked Jane, but it's not.
Oh, I thought it was.
Feels like it though.
It does. It does. I thought it was. It does. So what's going on today, ladies?
Who's going first?
Go ahead, Kate.
Well, apart from technology issues, nothing much. You know, these crazy technology issues where I've not had sound on my PC all morning, and then my partner comes on and presses one button and says, "What's wrong with you? It's working fine."
Yeah.
Oh dear.
And there we are. There you have it.
It's not a technology issue then.
I swear I tried everything. I pulled all the leads out. I put them all back in. I tried everything, and then it would not work, and I was just getting frustrated with it for about 2 hours. And then, as usual, Matthew walks in and presses one button and goes, "What's wrong with you? It's fine."
You know, it's that's funny you're saying that, Kate, because on Sunday I had to shut down the whole studio, the whole station studio, the whole computer, everything around the studio to completely unplug and plug into a power box. So we pulled everything back up. Now, mind you, this is Sunday. We pulled everything back up. I've got a new headset. It's a UBS. I have all this stuff going on, and nothing would work. 2 hours later, nothing would work. Let me tell you what we had to do. We had to shut everything down again, reboot the whole system, pull everything up, unplug my headset, plug it back on in, and it was the headset. It wouldn't read, bada boom, bada bing, and everything was working. Technology.
It's fun, isn't it? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, well, that's the downside of being in business, but there are a lot of upside,
You know what?
No?
There's a ton of upside. So you know what, ladies, let's start here today. Let's start. I don't want to stay negative, and I know the two of you don't like to either. But you know what? There is a lot of downside to business, and there's a lot of downside when we do own a business. But the positive plus side is far greater than the downside. So let's talk about when we do push our sleeves up and we are working hard, the payoffs. And again, I'm not quite sure if that even is the right word to use this morning with the payoffs is in the end, and it's not even in the end, but the trials and tribulations in getting to our accomplishments those accomplishments are far greater than the pain. Come on, let's just say it, because I'm having technology pain. The pain, it's pain, is far greater of a payoff. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. You know, when you've achieved something, and when you get to that point where you've achieved something so great, it's like, wow, I did that. Because I took the extra time out, I took that extra mile, I did that extra work, I learned them extra skills, and it's invaluable to what you can achieve now.
Yes, it is.
Well, remember that old movie with Tom Cruise, Vanilla Sky? At one point, she says to him, "Well, you can't know the sweet if you don't know the sour." That's what it is. How could we be happy? How would we know that we reached the place we wanted to be at some point if we did not know what it was not to have it, not to achieve it? So you always have to experience both sides of anything to make sure that you recognize when it comes your way and you appreciate it. If everything was always great every day, yeah, I would love that too. But meanwhile, after a while, we would get used to it and we would not appreciate it anymore.
That's very true.
So we need those tsunami. I call them tsunami because they just, oh gosh, they put everything upside down in my business or in my life. It's just like you go nuts, and that's true. And you get tired of them, but you know what? Now with the years, I learned that as soon as I see the tip of my tsunami coming my way, I know that big major step are coming my way as well. I mean, leap moment in my business. So now, I learn to just appreciate them as much as the rest.
Right, exactly. I agree with you. Those tsunamis, those are steps to huge growth, huge impactful growth, and it comes when we are self-employed, when we're the solopreneur, the entrepreneur, the business owner, whatever title you want to put to what our businesses are. And they come. And when I'm going through them, excuse me, when I go through them, I get stressed, so I have to ramp up my self-care. And I know that once I get through all of this, it's like, I've arrived to the Caribbean beach. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
It
Absolutely.
makes total sense. But that's when most people give in, at that stage where it gets tough is where people back down, and that is why so many people don't make it to success or don't make their business a success, because they get to that point and they think, oh, forget it. They give in. But if you go past that point and keep going, no matter how much you pull your hair out, no matter how many times you cry and sit there and say, I'm going to get a proper job, I've had enough of this. You keep going, and then on the other side is the victory. It's waiting for you, but first you've got to go through that, through that, that step. You just got to take it, and you've got to go through it, no matter how much it hurts. But the victory is at the other side. I mean, I'm living proof of that.
So why do you think, Kate, what's your feelings on, your thoughts and your feelings on, when the tsunami kicks in, and starts happening around us? Why do you feel, what are your thoughts and feedback on people quit and bail at that time?
Because it's tough and it's emotional time, and you get stressed, and if I go back to 2 or 3 years ago, if I was going through them situations, I would have given in. Of course I would have given in, because I didn't have a strong mindset, and I wasn't working at the level that I'm working now, and I would have been just given up. I'd given up, because I didn't know on the other side what it was like. I didn't know that sweet spot on the other side where victory was. So I'd just given up completely. And the fear of failure as well. People have a fear of failure, so that controls them in their actions and how they portray their life. Fear of failure just rules everything. And I would have given up 3 years ago, without a doubt. I would have given up, but I didn't. On my journey, I didn't. And when it started with the first missing piece book, oh my God, I went through a nightmare with the first project. But did I give in? No, because I had to keep going, because I had people relying on me. And as soon as I got through that, wow, my life completely changed. So now I love them. I embrace them. I know, okay, yes, I still get stressed and it still gets annoying, but I know now that if I get through this, it is victory on the other side. And, now it's like, it's okay, because on the other side it's good. It's okay, I'll get through this, because it'll be fine on the other side. So that's how I feel about it now, and that's how I look at it. But before, oh no, I would have run a mile.
Yes, and we also know, Kate, how you embrace going through those changes too. I think one of your supporters is called Mr. Red.
That's mine, by the way.
That's Christine's too.
Yeah, that is my prize. I reduced reduced my intake of wine lately, so probably about 3 times a week I will sit down with a glass of wine after I've had an extremely hard day. But that's my prize at the end because I've earned that. You know, I've been working constantly that day, and I've really put my back into it to get something out there into the world to help people. And you know, I really put my heart and soul into my work. So by the end of the week, it's like break time. I need it because I've worked from my heart. And you know, when you put a lot of emotion into something, it can take a lot out of you. So you need to get away from that on a weekend. You need to put your feet up. You need to have a glass of wine in the evening.
You also need to go out and have some fun too, laugh and have some fun. And so, you know, I'll say this on the air is, and I've said it to the two of you too. You know, the two of you become like sisters to me. We have a really tight bond between the three of us, and it's all been from anthologies and doing business, and it's all been from wonderful things. But I'm going to tell you, tomorrow I will be in Mexico with my margarita, and the only people that will get to see that picture will be Kate and Christine.
Yeah, it's ripping it in. Thank you very much.
How much do you want to pay us to make sure that we don't share those pictures?
Oh, I'm not paying you anything. Share them all you want. I don't care. I'm not going to pay anything.
Oh, damn. We can't get her on that one.
It's funny. I love it. So,
I know, right?
yeah. So, you know, I asked both of you to bring some quotes to the show today. And, you know, we're talking about, you know, the ups and downs, and the ups are more stronger and powerful, in my opinion, of owning a business. And Kate, you just said an awesome word, emotional, you know, because we give emotionally, because what a lot of people don't realize and understand, when we have our own business, it's us. It's not the work-life balance of owning a business in life. It's all life. It's all one, and we represent us. So yeah, we do give emotionally, and we do give logically, and we do give, you know, we do give, and we do work hard in our businesses. So you just said that. I love that. At the end of the week, you know, sometimes we are emotionally tired, and we do need to give ourselves a reward, aka a glass of red wine or whatever. And I did say we do need to laugh and have fun, but I want to cite this. Christine recommended this book to me, and I love this book. It's Louise Hay and Cheryl Richardson, You Can Create an Exceptional Life. This is such an easy read. And if I say it's an easy read, you know it's an easy read. And it's a nice little book. And in fact, you should see my copy of my book. We're on radio, so you really can't. But I've got Post-its popping out all over it and highlighted and stuff. I love this book. But something in here that Cheryl Richardson, it was her point in time of writing, because the two of them are writing together in this book. She says, at this point, I cringe inside. I think about the amount of energy I've expended over the years complaining about everything from how busy I am to what Michael does or doesn't do, Michael being her husband. Before understanding the power of my own thoughts, I had allowed this inner complainer, I call her a hag in the attic, a chronically irritated gal, to have free reign over my mind and mouth. She constantly griped about the same things over and over again, as if whining about them would somehow make things better. And Cheryl's talking about at the time of how mindset, changing our mindsets, because our thoughts become our words and our action. And I'm hearing, and I'm still have been hearing, as we're completing the first quarter of the year of 2014, I'm hearing a lot of women say, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. And it's as hard as we want to continue to tell ourselves that. And I love that Cheryl wrote that about that inner complainer and that mindset. And like I said, I call that mindset, the inner complainer, I call her, she's a hag in the attic. She's, quite frankly, she's a biatch in the attic. And it's, if I can say to the, you know, the three of us talking this morning on this show, and to everybody listening, is you have to begin by changing up that mindset. Our mind is a muscle. You have to work the muscle. You have to strengthen the muscle, and changing up thoughts. And a great place to begin, and I know Christine is, Christine, you're awesome with this one, is And gratitude, Christine does a gratitude log every day, is begin with being how grateful that you are for the positive things in your life. Because we are such a negative, can't do society. The other thing is that Cheryl and Louise were talking about our I am positive affirmations. And, and the two of you, Kate and Christine, I really love this book. You can create an exceptional life because I'm really getting to see an inside look of Louise Hay, who she calls herself a late bloomer. I think she was in her early 40s when she really stepped up and started going on her spiritual growth path. And she states in her house to this day, how old is Louise? She's in her 70s now?
80s.
Oh, that's right. She's in her 80s. Oh my God. So to this day, decades later of Louise creating this name and creating this empire, she, in her home, even in her toilet closet where her toilet is in her bathroom, she has I am affirmation statements on cards hanging everywhere. And she places mirrors throughout her house. She has a makeup mirror on her desk in her office. In her home office, because she also has a brick and mortar outside of her home office. And Cheryl goes, "What are you doing putting makeup on in your office?" And Louise goes, "I don't put makeup on here." She goes, "That's for me to look at myself every day and to give myself my positive affirmations and to tell myself how much I love myself." She goes, "I have mirrors all over the house so I can remind myself that." And I never knew that about Louise. And I think that is really cool. And I think it's another beautiful self-care tip that we could all imply as to how it works for all of us. I'm going to be quiet now.
Okay. But it's a great book, isn't it?
It is.
Fast to read and really, it's the kind of book that you can go back to very often, just to read a chapter or just to read, a few quotes, a few affirmations that she has in it. I really liked it too. Yeah. A very good book. I recommend it to everybody.
Yes. And you know something, Christine, I feel your book is the same way. I mean, I've read the book. I've got my little Post-its hanging out of it, my little tabs and my highlights. Your book also, too, is a good one to go back and maybe just pick up and read a chapter. And Louise, in this book, in fact, I think I just got it before we came on air. She recommended another book that she will just go and pick up and open up a page. I don't remember the name of it. But like I said, it just got delivered. I haven't opened up the box yet. And so I ordered that. I love those books, like Christine, your book, and then, you're creating exceptional life book, where you can just go and open it up. Just open up a page and look and see where you're landing. And it's such a beautiful gift, and it's mirroring something for you, possibly that could be going on. So there's a couple books out there that I've chosen to read from cover to cover, but I keep at my fingertips for going back and just opening up.
Yeah, one of those that I use almost, I wouldn't say every day, but every week at least, is The Power of Intention from Wayne Dyer. That is for me a classic. It's not, his latest book, but it's just, I don't know, that book brings so much light into my own belief that, from time to time I need to go back to it because it does always the same thing. It just gives me more strength. And it's a very, very good book that I recommend as well. Very nice read.
Kate, what are some of the things that you like to practice? And I did mention earlier, and it is pretty much, Christine, it is public knowledge because you did bring your gratitude log to Dublin, and you.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, you're very vocal about it. So it's not anything that I'm divulging that's a secret or anything like that. But Christine, I know you're very adamant with the gratitude log, and I know meditation and working out. And so, Kate, what are some of the practices that you do?
Well, I love my running. As you both know, I run, and I will run to the beach, and I will sit on the beach probably about 3 or 4 mornings a week, and I will just sit there and I will listen to the tide. I will close my eyes and I will kind of like meditate to the sound of the waves, and it's really calming and loving. And then I sit there and think about the 5 things that I'm grateful for, and then I will do that in an evening as well before I go to bed. So I am very big on gratitude and and just thinking of them 5 things while I'm sat on that beach of everything that I'm grateful for. Even grateful for the fact that I've got eyes to see that, to see that beauty, to see that nature. It's stunning. And especially now with springtime and just sat there and letting the sun beam down on my face while it's warm and just taking that time and having the freedom to do that. Having the freedom to go to that beach 3 or 4 times a week, just to sit there and watch the water and watch the birds float on top of the water before I even start work. That to me is my happy place. That's just, it's out of this world. It's just for me to escape from my office, to escape from the online world, and it's just me. It's just me, and most likely Ben as well, who's at the side of me. But that is just my time to be in my happy place with my happiness and seeing how I'm grateful for everything and just detachment just for that few moments, and then I will run back home, I'll get showered, I will get changed, and then I sit in my chair, and then I become the CEO, and then I work. But that is definitely my detachment, is the beach. Being near water, being near nature. I just love it.
Yes, I will be there tomorrow.
Yeah. I will most likely too, but not in Mexico.
Well, I'm going to be there in Mexico next winter too because, Kim has stated there will be no more winters in Kim's life. As I'm sitting here on Tuesday morning, March 25th, and it's snowing in Michigan. So guess where Kim's going to be next year for the winter time? Shh, don't tell the Marmoys. She's moving in with them.
I'll sleep in the bath. The bath's mine.
By the way, and
What
Grace,
if I only have showers?
and Grace
I
will
don't
be.
care, I'll stand up.
Yeah, there you go. And Grace will be in tow with me, by the way. It'll be Grace and I.
We'll all sleep
Yeah,
in the
Grace
shower.
and you. Yeah, with Mackenzie.
Yeah. I don't think Mackenzie will like that.
No, I don't think so. But like everything else, she can be flexible and adapt. I don't know. Although they have a hard time adapting.
I think cats are so much different than dogs.
Yeah. They play their own rules, and that's cool. I like that. They're very independent.
Yes.
They come to be pets whenever they want to, and if they don't want to, they just go away. It's
Yep.
okay. That works for me.
I had a black lab like that once. So much that she would like to try and get out of the yard and go running through the neighborhood. She was so independent. It's probably why I found her on a street corner, huh?
I know, right?
Oh my gosh, that was my Zoe. She was Miss Independent. Had to go, 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 go. But so what else can we provide to the listeners today besides the weather forecast in Michigan? Because I'm serious, it is snowing. I cannot believe it. I just cannot believe it. What else can we provide? When those tsunamis are kicking in, and knowing that when you're in the midst of it, that there's a light at the end of that tsunami, or AKA tunnel, or whatever else. I mean, what kind of tools can we put into place? And you know what? And since I'm asking that, I want to share something with the two of you and the listeners. Is what was going on Friday afternoon? Oh, I was on a call Friday late in the day, like about 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and I came out. And there's 2 girls that live down the street, and they brought their little dog in, and the dog and Grace like to play. But the dog was wet, so there was some footprints on my hardwood floor. So I got the towel, no big deal. I was wiping them up. But I had a mindset going on in the midst of that. I mean, I heard my inner critic, my Hag in the Attic, click off on some transition that's going on here behind the scenes. And you know something? I'm so well aware of when she does start piping up. I was on my hands and knees wiping up a couple spots on the floor, and I thought, that's not true. That is so not true. I'm managing this. I'm not in control. I'm managing this, and that's false evidence appearing real, aka a little bit of fear popping up. So my Hag in the Attic saw that opportunity and decided to step on the bandwagon. So my point is what I'm making here is when we're aware of that is going on, that's the biggest first number one huge step. Number two, it's what we choose to do next. Wouldn't you agree? And yes, I was talking to myself.
Oh, yeah.
I was talking to myself on Friday, which I really enjoyed doing.
There's a name for that, it's a specific condition. You shouldn't talk. You shouldn't share that kind of information on the radio.
All crazy.
Oh, did I say I'm going to be in Mexico tomorrow? Should I say? Okay, so crazy. I'm going to be in Mexico tomorrow. Let me keep saying that.
Yeah, but I do get what you mean. I do get what you mean because I become aware of it, and mostly my time is when I'm writing my books, when I'm writing my programs. Because as I grew up as a child, I had two elder sisters. And they would always pull me down. They would always drag me down and tell me, you're not good at this, you'll never do this, you'll never be anything. And, that conditioned my mind for a hell of a lot of years. And it stopped me from having, I had that fear and it held me stuck. So eventually when I did start becoming a writer and I was an author, I used to put earphones in my ears and I would play music so that I would just write. And then I couldn't listen to the nagging, and it worked. I would listen to music, and I would just let my words flow. I just let them flow, and that is how I first started writing, because the negative chatter was there. Obviously now I'm down the road, and there's a lot more. I'm in control, so I see it, and then I kick it into touch. But back then, when I was writing my first ever books, it was listening to music, putting earphones in my ears and just blocking out that negative chatter.
That's one way. That's one way to help calm. That's why I do visualizations of meditation. It helps calm my mind. I hear a lot of people say, hold on, excuse me. Pardon me. I hear a lot of people say, gosh, I can't meditate. I can't get my mind to be quiet. Well, our minds are not meant to be completely quiet. I mean, it's a mind. I mean, we have thoughts. But it's what kind of thoughts are penetrating as you are meditating, or not even meditating, as you're driving down the street, as you're getting up in the morning. I mean, to me, that's the first thing. 6 years ago, when I had a life-threatening issue happen where I fell asleep in a major intersection, not once but twice in the middle of the day, no reason to be falling asleep. I mean, I had a good night's sleep. That was the first place I began the next morning. Was I would open up my eyes. I was still in bed. I was opening up my eyes. It's dark, but you can vaguely see the walls in your ceiling. And I began with, thank you very much for that drywall over my head. And by the way, it's a very pretty drywall. So I began there. And so it's so imperative, I feel, especially as business owners, because it's us. I mean, it's us that we sell and we market, and we make connections. Yes, we're representing our business, but it's us. I think it's so imperative to start your day off with the positive skip in your step, so to speak, and positive mindset, because we've got it coming down every which way but loose. There's social media, there's TV, there's newspapers, there's other people coming at us negatively. So I think if you start off nice and strong first thing in the morning, you can manage and handle a lot of other things throughout the day.
I agree. But there's something else that I say, and not everybody likes to hear it, but it's still, unless somebody proves me other way, I really believe that's one of the only way. Happiness, to me, is the highest vibration that we can feel. And happiness is not the result of something, because when you attach happiness to some actions or some outcomes, well, that means that without that action or that outcome, you can't be happy. Well, happiness is not conditional. Happiness is a decision. You decide to be happy. that you decide that today you're gonna be happy no matter what. So of course, will life stop around you? No. But the thing is that the more you do that, the more life will show you things to be happy about. Because the more you try to avoid, or just block mentally everything that could put you in a bad mood or frustrate you, whatever, or step away from it, like Kate was saying, and when you come back to it with a higher state of mind and a feeling of happiness inside your heart, finally you realize that whatever is going wrong can be fixed quite easily and faster. And that's the first thing to do if you want to achieve whatever you want to achieve, if you want to be successful in whatever that means for you. It can be in your business, but it can be in your life, in your marriage, with your kids, whatever. The first thing is to be happy and do whatever it takes. Kid goes running on the beach and sits facing the sea and feel grateful for that. Kim and I, we work out and we do meditation and visualization, this kind of thing. I do a lot of other things like reading the book, I pick up The Power of Intention and I read a chapter of that. Or when I see that, no, it's not working, I stop everything. Unless I have a client, of course, but I stop everything for an hour. And I'm going to go on the treadmill, or I'm going to go walking on the beach, or I'm just going to do something else. But when I see that when things are not going right in my life, usually my first thought is, why did I create that of myself? There's a reason somewhere. Because, ultimately, if you believe you can create your happiness, of course you create your crap as well. So there's a reason behind it. Usually it's fear, so it's self-sabotaging. So once you realize that and, you said, okay, well, I'm going to wipe that off and use my mind in a different manner. In the beginning, it's quite tedious to do because you have to be in control of, as many thoughts as you can. But with time, you become aware of what's going on right away. And every time you'll make a decision to do one step further, closer to your dream, the more negative stuff will come to your attention. Mm-hmm. But you will realize that, and you'll be able to go through it while being happy. Because, life is not bad when you're happy. It doesn't mean that we don't have any issues. Of course, we are challenged. We are facing issues. All sorts of things happen to anybody. But when you are most of the time as happy as you can be, it's a lot easier to deal with. But again, it's a decision. And then you do whatever it takes to keep you happy. One of my clients, she has a collection of DVDs, funny movies. That's what she does. She goes back into the living room and she plays a movie. And she just watches a few minutes the movie, the funny movie. Well, that works for her.
Yep.
But that's the pleasure.
Yeah. I hear a lot of people, Christine and Kate, I hear a lot of people saying, I just want to be happy. And if I had more money, I would be happy. And that was the other thing I was reading this morning, looking at in this book was, does money solve a couple of things? Yeah, only a couple of things. But I know a lot of people that have that are millions and millions. They're millionaires, and they have bigger problems and bigger issues. So money doesn't solve. And so I hear a lot of the verbiage going, I just want to be happy. I just want a happy life. I just want to be confident. And it's not that wanting. It's not like we can go shopping at Neiman Marcus and go buy this. It's there. It's inside of us. But it's waking that up and becoming more aware. And what are the things that we're going to do to support this within us?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, there is an amazing story that I listened to on one of Jack Canfield's speeches one day, and Jack has a friend who was a billionaire, and he kept buying stuff, materialism, and kept buying them bigger and bigger and bigger, and he was never finding a happiness. So one day he got asked to volunteer at a children's hospital and to buy some wheelchairs and take them in to donate them. So he donated them and he took them in, and this little boy came up to him and grabbed his arm and he said, "Excuse me, sir." And he looked around to the little boy and he said, "Yes, how can I help you?" He said, I just want to take one last look at your face so that I remember it in heaven when I get there. And that just changed the man's perspective. He sold all his Ferraris, he sold all his yachts, and he downsized into his life. He downsized his lifestyle. And he said he found his happiness just by helping a sick child. And having that said to him just changed his whole perspective. He'd found his happiness in helping somebody else. So that was an amazing story, and it really hits hard to tell you that you will never, ever find happiness in materialism. Never.
No, not at all. So I'm going to go sell my yachts and all my Ferraris.
After Mexico, not before. After.
Yeah, I've got to take my yacht down to Mexico first. So then I'll handle it when I get down there. Oh my God. But it's so, you know what it is so true, because, you know, the materialistic things, and I'm going to admit, I used to be the girl that, when something was lacking on the inside of me, it's like, let's go shopping. Let's go shopping. Or let me see if I can go get my hair done. And I'm not saying, ladies, don't go get your hair done, but I would do it for the wrong reasons, for that quick fix of that exterior of happiness. And the more I stepped into my interpersonal growth work and my spirituality, it's like, do I like to go shopping? Well, you know, sure. But now I don't turn to that for those quick fixes anymore. I don't turn to that. You know, so it's not outside of us. It is not outside of us. Here's another thing that I read this morning. These are just 3 questions that were in that book. In the book, You Can Create an Exceptional Life. Is what are we thinking? Why are we thinking this thought? And what is this thought creating for us in our world? And then they go on, Cheryl goes on to talk about, no wonder I'm having this negative reaction. It's because I'm thinking this negative thought. Now I want to become aware every time I do it so I can dissolve the habit. I love that word, dissolve the habit. So in the next time you catch yourself doing it, say, oh, caught myself again. That's great. Is a part of dissolving the process as opposed to beating yourself down. So it's, what are your thoughts? Those thoughts are coming from somewhere. Where are they being derived from? What are creating those thoughts? It's not the news broadcaster on Channel 7 News. It's not the lady down the street. It's not the person that drove you off the road. Sorry. Those thoughts come from within. And they come from deep within. So if you want a change in your life, if you want something different to change in your life, change your thought process. Because when you change your thought process, you will change your actual verbal language. You will also change your internal landscaping language, and you will change in how you are responding, not reacting, but responding to a situation. Hence, you will receive a different outcome. It's all by choice. It's all by choice.
Yes, I agree. The choice, the decision. It's so simple, actually. When you look at it, it's really, really simple. It's not easy to do, but it's a simple process. That's the way we could say, because making a decision, it's not that hard. You just say, okay, that's it, I do it. But then the process of doing it, that's where it's, people get stuck. And you have also people who don't believe that it's possible to just decide and be, because it would be too easy.
Yeah.
But the thing is that everything in life comes from a decision. And if you don't make the decision, well, other people will make a decision based on what they need. Mm-hmm. And of course, since we are all connected to each other, their decisions will have an impact on you. And so the choice will be made for you, but that doesn't mean that it would be the one that you would have hoped for. But, this is something that I strongly believe in. If everybody could make take more responsibility and be, and make those decisions, a lot of things in the world would be a lot better. You know, but that's, you know, when you say that most people don't accept to be the responsibility of deciding to be happy, it's, you know, it's really hard to wish for bigger things, but it all starts there. And the sooner people can understand that, the better it will be. I've read, Kim, I've read a study last week, and they proved, they did some research, and they proved that, at least for women spend money a lot less, by 40% less, when they exercise every day. Why? Because the level of happiness, of feeling good, of well-being were higher when these women were exercising. Therefore, they didn't feel like they needed that many things. So they were buying less. Because like you said, people buy things, many times to make them feel better.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is that, it's moment. It has a very short life. Once you bought it, you go back home and you feel just as bad as you felt before. Now, if you're happy before buying it, because there's a distinction, I don't think that the material is bad per se, because in your example, Kate, that guy bought those wheelchairs, that's still material, to provide for the kids. Now, he was able to do that because he had money to begin with. Otherwise, he would not have been able to do that. But now, the issue is that when you expect that to give you or to provide you with happiness, if you start with happiness first, whatever you'll do, will work fine. Because I'm sure that guy did not stop working, or did not stop, having goals and achieving them. It just, I'm assuming now, I don't know, but I'm assuming that he's just find another way of using all that could bring him happiness,
It's true. I think it's getting to a point where, how can we as human beings give and pay it forward like that without any attachment, without any expectation to it? And I'm a believer that we all, as human beings, we are here to pay it forward. We are here to give handouts and rippling effect, if you will. Drop the big boulder in the body of sea, and the rippling effect. And so how can a human being actually donate and give, where their heart's desire belongs, to whatever organization, without any attachment? Because I see a lot of people donating and giving, but they've got a lot of attachments to it. Personal attachments.
Well, I have a little quote on my vision wall that says, give in either time, money, or energy. So it doesn't necessarily mean you have to give loads of money away, or you have to, it's giving somebody some time, giving some energy towards somebody, because we just live in a world where so many people just have their faces stuck to their mobile phones, to their iPads. There's no connection. So giving somebody just your time, even if it's 5 minutes, just to give them full-on attention, that means so much to somebody. And just giving in time, if you can't give in money, it doesn't matter. You don't have to. Look where you can give in time and energy, just to make somebody feel special, just for 5 minutes. It's paying something forward.
I agree, Kate.
Yeah.
I just I love that, paying it forward, pay it forward, whatever verbiage anyone chooses to use. But like I said, I see my husband and I, Steve and I, are very involved in a nonprofit locally here in the Detroit area, and I'm a co-facilitator for a leadership. It's an 8-week leadership course with kids inside of middle schools and high schools, and I co-facilitate with some very gifted, talented people, but they have so much attached to that co-facilitation for themselves. I see it, and they say it too. Oh, I'm doing this. This makes me feel so much better. I do this because, it's about me, 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 where there's only one or two other persons that I will co-facilitate with in this program that does a lot of personal growth work and cleans up their stuff in their own personal backyard. Does the work where they can leave their, as I call it, they leave their luggage in their car, in the trunk of their car. They leave their baggage in the trunk of the car, and they come in and surrender to this curriculum that we deliver, and it's for the kids. There's only very few people out there that can really remove their stuff aside and deliver this and not get angry over something that's not being said properly or correctly, or things aren't going right, you can't get the kids to be quiet, all this stuff. It's like, but it is what it is. So it's very hard for humans, I see, because I hear them say this is hard work, for them to release their stuff and just show up and deliver.
I love the line, I'm busy. I can't do it. I'm busy.
Busy.
I'm busy. But busy people do nothing and get nowhere fast. They just make themselves busy and don't actually move anywhere. And then when you ask them to be involved in something really important that can really lift them up, I'm busy. I don't have time, I'm busy. So it makes you think, are they actually saying that to their partners, and they're saying that to the children? You just stop and listen. Listen, because it's all around you. All your results in your life are telling you something. If something's not going so right, then you just have to stop and check in with yourself and say, what am I doing right now that's making this situation this bad? You can't keep saying, I'm busy, I'm busy. It's not good.
Well, it's the story. It's our mindset. It's our thoughts. It's our thoughts that keep us in the repetitiveness of that story. And that's, something, I see it, I hear it, and I read it. It's called comfort zone. That's deeper than comfort zone. I'm convinced, and those are my beliefs, it's more than a comfort zone, because people gain from that. People thrive on that. It's like, again, I'll come back around to the most important act of self-care is caring for our thoughts. The most important act of self-care is caring for our thoughts. And if our thoughts are discombobulated, then we're discombobulated. If our thoughts are negative, then we're one big huge mush of negativity. If our thoughts are positive, then we're one big huge being of positivity. And if we're self-caring for ourselves and our thoughts, it changes, it shifts.
And you know what? It really does. I said that to a client not long ago about, making decisions, deciding to be happy, watching your thought, doing all that to make sure that you nurture a positive environment, a positive soul in your own soul. So to make sure that you attract whatever, you want in your life, and that you feel fulfilled and content and happy. Well, it does work when you do it. And a client of mine asked me, but Christine, are you really sure that it works? Because, I've been talking to so many people. It doesn't work for everybody. It just, or it doesn't work all the time, whatever. And this is the answer I gave her. I told her that if she can document somebody who did that daily, day after day, for at least 6 months, and still after 6 months is still unhappy, depressed, nowhere in his life or her life and whatever, if she knows somebody like this who really did the work on a daily basis, and 6 months later is still in the same position, I want to meet that person. Because it does work every time. But what we also do every time is that we don't do it consistently. Mm-hmm. We forget, especially when it starts working. We just like, okay, well, I know how it works. So, oh yeah, well, I can skip it today. So, we go back to the old way of being. But that's why it does not work for everybody. Because people quit. But if you don't and you really do it on a daily basis, does work every time.
Yeah.
That's a good belief to have, by the way.
Yes, I agree. I agree. Christine, we have not heard your quote today.
You haven't heard what?
Are you going to share? Did you share your quote?
Okay, my quote. No, just hold on. I'll turn on my iPad. Okay. This is a quote from the last book of Wayne Dyer. You know, I'm a fan. I've read them all, I think, and it's called "I Can't See Clearly Now." It just came out. I think it was in February. So this is what he says, and that really resonates with me and what I believe. He says, "Opportunities to fulfill one's own dharma are only present when there is an inner picture of one's intention firmly planted in the imagination." And I love that quote, that line in the book, because that's exactly it. If you're passionate and if you really know in your own heart what you want to do, what you want to be, you have that conviction inside your heart. Well, life will give you the opportunities to make it a reality. That's how it works, because your purpose is in your passion. What you were meant to, people are spending a lifetime trying to figure out what they were meant to be, why they were placed on this planet. Well, the reason is your dharma, and your dharma is the passion. What are you passionate about? What do you love doing? All the time. It's all about love. The solution to everything is love anyway, and love leads you to happiness. It's all around that. It's either love or fear. And if you work from your passion, you are in that loving place. Well, because you're in that loving place, you're happy, right? So the life, the universe will present you with all the opportunities that you need to go the next step and the next one and the next one. That's all you have to know. And mindset is very, very important. That's why that sentence really resonates with me. Because in that book, it explains how he went from, the beginning, a troublemaker at school because he refused to do whatever was not logical to him or useless, to being 4 years in the army, something that he did not believe in at all at the time, and to become, the public figure that we know now, and everything that he had to go through. It was not an easy ride either, at no level. However, he knew from the beginning that he wanted to be a teacher, that he wanted to be on TV, that he wanted to help people, and that led him to who he is right now, or to the public figure that he is right now. And I'm sure that helped him also personally in his life to better understand the human being that he is.
Yes.
That's my quote.
I like that. Thank you. It's interesting, how a lot of people, and I've been talking a little bit about using the analogies of rosy colored glasses, and that was part of my chapter in Kate's last book, that was just out last week. Well, this seems like months ago, and it was just last week that we published that we launched that. Wow. I hear these business owners that are just getting started. When I mean just getting started, I mean within the first 2 years of their business. They look at someone like a Louise Hay or a Cheryl Richardson or a Wayne Dyer or the hunka burning man of Jack Canfield, and they put them so high up on these pedestals. But what people don't understand is the walk those people have had to walk, what they have gone through to arrive to where they're at. And it didn't happen overnight. It was a journey. And the processes they've set in place for themselves that works for them, 40 years later, they're still doing. I read somewhere Jack Canfield, it was either Jack Canfield or Wayne Dyer. It could be both of them. Before they walk out on stage, and they've been on numerous amount of stages, they're doing I am positive affirmation statements to calm not their nerves where their knees are shaking, but to just stand into strength of themselves. So I think what a lot of people see is the white picket fence. They think the white picket fence is white on both sides, where there is really, in my mind, in my beliefs, there are no picket fences. And if there is, it's multiple colors or whatever you want to say. But it's when you're starting off in an industry of consulting and coaching and speaking and writing, it's a journey. It's not like I've launched my business January 1st and I expect by March 1st it should be up and running and I'm going to cram it like one of those women in the Cinderella villages trying to put their foot in that glass slipper. Yes, that's one of my favorite analogies. But they see these people that like they're untouchable. They're human beings. They're very touchable. And they have all come from incredible backgrounds. I mean, incredible backgrounds. And their walks were not easy. So
it's taken them, sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just going to say it's taken them a lot of work to get that far. It's taken them probably 35, 40 years to get there. That is a lot of work, and they've never stopped. They've just kept going and going and going because it's so easy just to stop and just to do nothing. But these people have took that long, and the negative side of the world just looks at them and goes, "Oh, it's all right for you. You're famous. You're rich." No, that there is probably a 35, 40-year journey.
Yes, and by the way, the journey's not done until we physically leave this human body suit that we're living in. By the way, the journey's not done until we leave this suit. Period. It's like
something that's so funny because when I was living, I was in San Diego actually at the time, and I was really often by myself with the kids, and a full-time job, like more than 40 hours a week, and I was doing so many things. And how many people came to me and said, "Oh, Christine, how come you can do so much? Blah 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 blah. I couldn't do everything that you do." And this is what I used to tell them. Well, you don't know what you're capable of until you have no choice. Because when you don't have the choice, you find the strength, you find the courage, you find everything that you need to really do it. Now, that's what I had to do for so many years. But then it's exactly the same thing when you decide something. When you decide to really act upon your passion and be happy, well, it should be a no choice. There's no other choice than to be happy. And if it's like this, it's a lot easier to just, it's a lot easier on you. It's not, doesn't change anything to the situation, but for you, it's a lot easier if you go into things with a positive approach, whether, instead of a negative one, as opposed to being, complaining or moody about things, because you can't change them, but you can change your reaction to it.
Right. I agree. It's all that mindset, mind thought. Ladies, it is 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. We're pretty much all done with this awesome talk show. Stay tuned, everybody. Again, in 2 weeks. Oh my gosh, it'll be April. Does that mean spring? Please tell me spring.
We're already in spring.
All right, that's enough. That is enough from the Frenchie. That's enough. It's snowing here. Seriously, it's snowing here. I cannot believe it. I'm just taken aback, but that's all right. Before you know it, it will be spring here in Michigan. So
it's already spring.
All right, enough, my little crazy Brits. Enough. Any last parting words, ladies? You two are quiet? Oh my God.
I think we've covered every avenue of happiness there, but
I'm sure we did not. We did not cover everything about happiness. Don't say that. That's not true. I don't believe that.
No.
I'm sure there's a lot of ways and things to discuss about happiness.
Very true.
It's a great subject. There's a lot to say about it.
It's a huge subject, and I was gonna surprise the two of you. Well, I'm not gonna tell you because I will do it eventually with something. But it's an ongoing topic. People want to be happy, and my parting words are there's never enough. And happiness, by the way, is like a quick sugar fix. How about if we move into joy? Happiness can be like that quick sugar fix. But joy can be that sustainable blood sugar where we're not spiking as well, too. Ooh, I'm going to leave you guys all with that thought.
Yeah, without eating chocolates.
Well, yeah, I'm not either. I'm not a big chocolate person. I'll save my calories for the margaritas. On that note, everybody, thank you for joining us this morning at Bold Radio Station. This is the Three Woman Talk Show, just making it real, keeping it real. I, for one, hope that all of you took away some multiple golden nuggets for yourself to really step into that happiness and feel it. Don't just say it, feel it. And support yourself with some wonderful tools. Listen, if you still don't know what direction to take next, reach out to us. And I'm going to keep it real simple here. Just go to theboldradiostation.com, fill out a contact there, and I will forward you on to whoever, if you want to talk with Christine or Kate or with myself, I'll put you in contact. But we're all here for support to help you step into your desired happiness, your desired success. So go make it a wonderful, wonderful week. I know I will be down in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. La, 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 la. So go have a great week, everybody, and thank you for joining us. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Take care.